So my background is actually in innovation. I've worked on over 3,500 different products and services through my lifetime. Things like guidance systems for the Patriot missile to Basecamp, to the Google App Suite, to Pokemon Mac and Cheese, and the Hostess Twinkie. So it all turns out to have a relation back to progress and progression. Where do people struggle? Where do people want to make progress? And how do we actually understand how to do it? If you actually focus on the lower end of the market as opposed to the higher end of the market, it's way bigger than you think it is. In my book, I talk about Paul LeBlanc, who said, how many people want to go back to college but can't? In 2010, he built a version of Southern New Hampshire online. And today he has over 200,000 students. He's literally lowered the cost of education 70%. Paul heard me and Clay talk about this in 2010. He had about 2,500 traditional students. He saw that he had about 500 online students. And he's like, I really don't know why they're coming. They say they want a degree, but they're okay not coming to class. They're literally willing to watch the professors on video and take the class. And all they want to make sure they do is they get the degree. And so first thing we did is we went off and interviewed a bunch of the students and said, like, what caused you to say today's the day you're going to go back to school? Well, it turns out that we found 5 very, very different jobs. The job to be done. It's not the job, it's the job to be done, which is about the future tense. One of the jobs was help me escape. Like, I'm in a career, I'm in a company that I really don't like, and I don't actually know how to get out of it. If I'm 18 years old and I'm going to college, these people want to go far away because of either friend group or maybe there's some bad situation at home. But this whole notion is help me build a whole new set of friends. Help me build a whole new ecosystem. But at 35, this is help me escape is, look, I'm a nurse. I hate being a nurse. I want to be something else. Help me become a data analytics professional, right? So help me escape my job versus when I'm 65, help me escape becomes like, look, I've got nothing to do. And at some point in time, help me escape so I can actually find new people to actually interact with. This is about actually moving forward and not knowing what you want. It's more about running from the past than knowing in the future. Versus help me step it up. People have tried to go to school. They were stuck in an hourly job. They typically would have some kind of responsibility now where they either had parents to take care of or kids to take care of, or they had something they had to do. And they had this notion of like, if I don't go back to school now, I'm never going to get my degree. I'll never do what I'm supposed to do. Paul ran some ads showing a parent with a school-age kid that works at an hourly job and shows the home life. It's a single parent situation, shows him studying and then shows him leaving his old job and then walking into a new office. And then it just says SNHU. And he put this up as a test in 2010. This is a school that's used to getting roughly about 1,000 applications a year. And in 1 month from this ad, he got 10,000 applications. And he's like, holy crap, what's going on with that? And so from that, he goes to the admission department who literally goes like, what is going on here? We got now 10 times more work. Well, if you have been to any university admission department, it is literally a 4 to 6 month process to process everything and decide whether they're in. And Paul stands up and goes like, I need you guys to do this in a day. And the admission department goes like, you're crazy. And he comes back and says, fine, all right, I'm going to take a team, puts them to the side. He figures out how to actually process all these applications in literally 1 week. You'd do an interview, they'd call your current employer, they'd understand the skills that you had, they'd go get all your other transcripts. By the end of the week, have a package together to say, if you want to become a teacher, here's the 8 classes you have to take, and here's what it's going to take to get you there. The one thing that he didn't anticipate was as people would go through life, they'd get excited and sign up for it, but then life would kind of circle into them. And they'd realize that they would struggle again. And it would be like, oh, I just can't take my final exam this time. Or boy, I'm just not getting this one class. So he took the advising group, which usually would decide what classes you take, and turn them into life coaches. They would talk about why they're there, what they're trying to accomplish. And then they implemented things like eye tracking, and they could actually see when you were struggling with something and actually have a tutor set up before you even knew you needed it, right? And so ultimately he turned the academic advising into coaches. Those were the main 2 processes he changed. He changed a few others, but by changing advising and changing admissions, he grew from 2,500 students and almost about 100 million all the way to 130,000, where he had, in this case, almost 19,000 and 18. In 2018, he had 19,000 graduates. He built a stadium for graduation where now in 19, he had about 39,000 people graduate. And this year, he did a virtual graduation. They had 62,000 people graduate. They have over 200,000 people as active students. They're the largest university in the world, and they're the largest university actually in Africa and in Asia. By the way, I have a whole book on this. It's called Choosing College. Right? It's literally a 250-page book where we detail every single one of these jobs and what you should do as a parent, what you should do as a student, and what you should do as a entity to help with it. And these are all detailed in that book. In my life, I've had all 5 of these jobs. Jobs are actually, I call them space and time dependent. They're not people dependent. We keep thinking that it's about people. Because I'm 55 and because I live in this zip code and because I have this interest and because I have this degree, that causes me to be interested in something. It's just crap. It's all correlative data. Never confuse correlation with causation. Correlation is not predictable and it doesn't actually mean anything. It's causation that you always need to wonder. In Japan, for 500 years, they never cut trees down because they felt like the trees caused the wind. But until they actually understood that the wind caused the trees to move, they can finally start to use it. So don't fall for correlation. It's a math trick that will cause you harm. Paul LeBlanc, he really hit non-consumption at its best, which is when somebody wants to make progress, but they can't because of the access, knowledge, money, and or inconvenience. They're actually usually willing to accept an inferior alternative because it really competes with nothing. It's better than nothing. Like I can't go to SNHU, I can't figure out how to go physically go to college, but if you can figure out how to bring it to me when I'm home instead of watching Netflix, I'll do it. And that's what he actually did. And so the thing is that actually is really the source of real growth. Let me give you a very tangible example. This is in 1952, you either had a radio in your car or in your home, but nowhere else. People who wanted to listen to music or listen to news had to have it in those 2 places. Most people aren't going to know what that is. That's a transistor radio. If you listen to it, you literally go, it's a piece of crap, but it was better than nothing. That little radio then built radio stations, and it also built the commercial network radios in terms of advertising. It also built rock and roll. Your Spotify would not exist without that innovation happening. And so to me, think about where non-consumption is for the people you're targeting to help. What progress do they want to make? And how many people are trying to make progress but can't? My belief is most of your products are going to be over-engineered because you feel you need all these features to sell. But actually what you want to know is how do you actually help them make progress?
Bob is one of the VIP experts you can work with in our Game Thinking Academy, the online center for product leaders who want to get ahead. To hear more of Bob's thoughts on demand-side sales and jobs to be done, check out gamethinking.io/Bob and be sure to pick up your free Jobs to be Done cheat sheet while you're there.